Essentially, this document outlines all of the requirements that you need to complete for Kaiser University before you are approved to begin your clinical rotations. As we go through, please note that all items are being sent to the clinical docs email unless otherwise indicated. The first thing you need to submit is the clinical site contract manual. So if you open this up, in the table of contents, there is a quick link to the contract. Now, this is something that you would have provided to your clinical site when you were initially inquiring about completing your clinicals with them. And the contract is 4 pages long, has some information for the site, and then on almost every page, there's a student signature and student printed name, signature line, as well as a signature line for the agency representative. You'll see that again on page 3, and on page 4 you have all of that same information as well as your scheduled start date and time. You do want to make sure that you have a schedule set up with your clinical site in advance. So back to our clinical placement packet, we just reviewed the clinical site contract. Next, we have a CPR card. Everyone needs to submit a CPR card that will be active throughout the entire clinical rotations. If you already have a CPR card, you can send that in. If you don't, there are multiple options on how to acquire the CPR card, one of which being from CPR Today, which is an online option for your CPR card. So to get there, you'll just click on course details, and then you'll select the healthcare provider option. And at the bottom of the page, you can sign up to take the CPR course. When you get your CPR certification, you will email that in to the email provided. You also have 2 certifications you need to acquire through the Central Florida Health and Safety website. When you click on that link, you can find those 2 credentials or certifications here. You'll add them both to your cart, complete them. Upon successful completion, you'll receive a certificate of completion, and you will email that in to the email provided. Also, you need to make sure you send in your driver's license or other government ID. You'll also have to complete the Elements of Professionalism training video as demonstrated by a picture or a screenshot of the final completion page. So you'll click on this link, and it will take you out here where you'll watch this Elements of Professionalism video, what's expected of you as a professional at a clinical site. On the very last page, you'll see a completion screen that asks you to pause the video, take a picture or a screenshot of that screen. That's what you will email in to the clinical docs email. You also have to complete the health insurance notification form, placement record, and policy agreement page, all indicated below. The health insurance notification form either asks you to check that you have insurance and send in a copy of that you will purchase the insurance and send in a copy of that when you have it, or option 3, waiving liability. The placement record is information about your clinical site. If there is some information that you don't have, such as days of operation and hours of operation, you should be able to find this online. If not, that's okay, but you do need your basic information there. And lastly, you have a policy signature agreement page. Again, this was from the Medical Assisting Clinical Manual, which is back here, this other document that we had opened where we looked at the contract on the final page. This signature page that we were just looking at refers to all the policies outlined in that manual. You do need to sign and date each of these signature lines, and make sure, if you haven't already, that you've thoroughly read through the Medical Assisting Clinical Manual and that you understand everything, because you are held accountable for adhering to those policies. And then navigating back up to the top. So we reviewed those 3 documents that are all below on this form. I also wanted to point out that you do need to acquire a student ID badge. Now, that's not something that you're giving to us, but you are sending in a professional looking headshot. It's very important it's professional, so that you'll have that when you're at your clinical site. Also, scrubs. You need to have clean, neat, and pressed scrubs to attend your clinical rotations, as well as a stethoscope and clean sneakers or nursing shoes and some other supplies as well. Now with the scrubs, if the bookstore has scrubs in supply and you have your materials costs wrapped in with your financial aid, you sometimes can use your financial aid to purchase the Kaiser University scrubs. You are not required by us to utilize the Kaiser University scrubs. You can purchase your scrubs from somewhere else. Just make sure to check with your clinical site to see if they have any requirements pertaining to those. The most common one would be perhaps a solid scrub color and no prints, but some offices offer flexibility. Some offices have requirements, so you want to make sure before you purchase anything. Also, you do have the option of purchasing an arm simulator. For example, some students don't feel comfortable drawing blood on a patient right away. They want to learn on an arm simulator first, or maybe the office doesn't allow students to draw blood. You can be checked off on that particular skill using an arm simulator, so you can purchase those through somewhere such as Amazon. And then also make sure that you know your schedule at this office. If the office is willing to be flexible with you, that's fantastic. But Kaiser University requires that you agree upon your schedule for the week in advance, at least 1 week in advance with your office, and that you're complying to that and adhering to that schedule. So this is a review of the clinical placement packet. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the MA department at the number indicated here, or ask a question in the Ask Questions section of this group. Thank you.